Again, welcome on board. Our presentation today and our workshop today is for the Crisis Ready Organization, the strategic role of HR in navigating disruption. So what's our agenda for today? First of all, who we are. That's perfectly my part. Then Mr. Ayman will be going deeply into the architecture of crisis readiness, into navigating disruption and strategic impact, the road to resilience and transformation, and we're gonna clear the room for a bit of Q&A if you have any. So, stay connected. Welcome to Morgan International, where you can invest in your knowledge and your skills. Who we are. So, Morgan has leading partnerships. We have more than 350 expert certified instructors, more than 30 years of experience in 28 locations around the world. We have more than 150,000 candidates and alumni, and we have serviced over 500 organizations. We are a professional development and training solutions. We have professional certifications and diplomas, industry-specific workshops, soft skills workshops. We have continuing professional education courses, and of course, we service governmental and non-governmental clients and organizations. Our portfolio is wide. We cover accounting and finance, for example, CPA, CFA, ACCA, CPEs, etc. From human resources, we cover SHRM, CP, SCP, ASHRM, Global Remuneration Professional, of course, and the Certified Compensation Professional. From the supply chain and logistics, we have the CSCP, CPIM, and the foundations, of course, and digital marketing courses such as short courses, CDMP, and any other workshops that are relative to any of the industries that we just mentioned. Our corporate our corporate network spans across all 28 locations. I'm not going to go into details, but I'm pretty sure you're familiar with a lot of the names that are available on the screen in front of you. From Lebanon, for example, we have Banque Audi, Banque Med. We have also Banque de France. We have Grant Thornton, of course, Touch and Do and MNP, Mubadala, and SABIC, for example, Caterpillar across the world and internationally. So, with no further ado, I'm just gonna give it back to Mr. Ayman for the value of the SHRM certification when it comes to demonstration, when it comes to HR employees, to students, to opportunities to learn practical skills and competencies to impact your job immediately. It validates your proficiency as a business leader by testing knowledge and how you use that knowledge. I'm pretty sure that you guys are not here to listen about the SHRM itself, but we're trying to tell you the importance of the SHRM certification, given that our subject matter expert is not only HR related employee, let's use this word, but Mr. Ayman is also a SHRM CP, SCP certified and a lead instructor within Morgan International. So success comes not only from what you know, it's also from what you do. So the idea or intention behind this is to showcase that the SHRM certification does not only teach you the theories, but it actually also advises you on how to act on your behaviors and how to decide which of the best certifications is good for you, be it the CP or the SCP, noting that the classes actually cover both material and you do not have to choose when you start the class. But you will need to choose whenever you decide to sit for the exam, because whenever you're filling the application, you will need to apply if you're sitting for the CP or the SCP. The SCP is the senior part, and it's more on a strategical role than the CP. However, a previous experience is not required for the CP, while 3 years of relative experience is required for the SCP. So, why Morgan International? Aside from all what I mentioned, you need to know that Morgan International has been awarded top 5 international education partner for the 2025 learning system courses, a recognition that we have been attaining since 2007 as a SHRM partner due to the number of registrations and the satisfaction that comes from the classes of this SHRM, specifically by subject matter experts similar to Mr. Ayman Nadim. In 2025, we have been awarded one of the top 3 international education partners presented directly by SHRM USA. So, I'm going to give it back to Mr. Ayman. Mr. Ayman Nadim is a SHRM SCP instructor with Morgan International. He is a seasoned HR leader and SHRM certified instructor with over a decade of experience, including but not limiting to roles with the Dubai government and Al Jaber Group. As the human resource and administration manager, Mr. Ayman specializes in building resilient workforces and navigating complex organizational disruptions. With no further ado, Mr. Ayman, the floor is all yours.
Remy, thank you very much for the introduction. I'm proud to be part of Morgan team. I've been with you for 10 years and I really cherish every day. I'm not going to say every year. I think that me talking about SHRM in general, I chose SHRM personally for myself since 12 years ago, because SHRM gives you the strategic overview and the hands-on. It doesn't dive to operations that level, and I want to go back to the slide that if we may go a couple of slides back regarding the knowledge and the behavior. I think that's one thing is very unique about. Can we go one more slide? Yeah, that's the one. No, the one next. Yes, just that's it. Thank you, Remy. I think one of the most unique criteria about or characteristic about SHRM is that it does not talk about only what you need to know, but also talks about you as a person. So the whole diploma talks about two things: you as a professional HR and what you need to know. And I don't think that any successful HR would be successful if he or she only knows how to develop a job description or to develop policies and procedure. It is the behavior that will make you a successful HR. And SHRM is the only certificate right now that talks about two things, the two main things: you as a person and what you need to know as a professional HR. Sorry, Remy, we had to go back because I like very much the knowledge and behavior slide.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that.
Yeah. So let's
We're gonna
go
go back
to,
here, right?
yes, let's talk about risk and crisis and as HR. HR has been taking, since I think not less than 10 years, the center stage. Whether we like it or not, whether we, even the business owners or the directors, they confess that this is the case or not. Why? Because HR is basically managing your talent, managing the people that you depend on to be able to conduct business. And this is why if we talk about it, we say talent acquisition, war for talent. It's not about number of people, it's about the talent. So HR now plays a strategic role in the aspects of the business. One of them is the crisis, in case of we go to a crisis mode. So are we ready? I want you to ask yourself, I'm not going to read it, but I want you to ask, are you ready as an organization? Disruption is everywhere. It's going to happen. It's happening right now, actually, as we speak in our region, unfortunately. But are we just denying that this crisis is going to happen, or are we admitting that this is something, unfortunately, in our modern world, it's going to happen? It's not if it will happen, it's when will it happen. And are we ready? Ask yourself, is my organization is ready? When we say readiness, it means resilience, adaptability, and trust. And I would like to add to this word, very important, adaptability. I can adapt, but I can adapt in a slow motion. It doesn't work. You need to be agile. So ask yourself, can you adapt? Are you resilient? Do you have what it takes to go through the crisis? And finally, our employees and leadership are aligned to respond effectively. At the end of this topic today, I'm going to highlight one thing that is very important. It's nothing of this. You cannot be crisis ready or agile without communication. So Let's continue. Let's move forward. And please, if you have any questions, just interrupt me or raise your hand. So, one of the things in leadership that I went through personally, working with leaders as well as part of the leadership cluster in behavioral competencies in SHRM, is leaders who think that they have control on everything, and that's not true. They have the sense of, whether it's sense of confidence or security or I'm powerful enough, but that doesn't happen. You need to understand that this is something that that's gonna happen. And I'm gonna take COVID as an example. In 2020, it hit us like a fast train, and at the end of the day, we moved from we don't know what is remote work to full operating business model working remotely. And this is the business case that we're going to discuss at the end, in less than 3 months. So anticipate disruption. Don't think that you're safe. Don't think because you're the other side of the planet, it's not going to hit you. Resilience. What do you think is the word resilience mean? Anyone would like to contribute? What is resilience? What is the definition of resilience? Any thoughts? Would love to hear from you. Anyone?
I don't think, Mr. Ayman, they're going to be able to communicate
Okay.
because we stopped them. We're gonna leave
Okay.
it till the
Okay.
end of the class.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
So no worries. Resilience is basically consistency, determination, patience. So resilience must be part of everyday practice, not just in terms of emergency. And definitely the word agility, which I would like to replace by adaptability. I can adapt, but if it's a slow motion adaptation, it's not going to work. So flexible processes allow organization to maneuver quickly. Let's move to the next, please, Remy. Thank you. طيب, we talk about HR. I like HR. I love HR. So, and we'll talk about crisis and business and being part of the strategic team who will manage. So what are the HR functions? Workforce planning, flexible staffing, training and development, employee well-being, which is the compensation, benefits, or total rewards, and as well as policies, compliance, all these things. But all of them, they have to support what we just said. You cannot just download it from the internet. So when we talk about workforce planning, I'm not sure if you are all working in HR or some of you have the experience, or this is actually a brand new topic, but workforce planning is basically, the basic is looking ahead to know how much do I need in the future, what I have as a supply, and what do I demand. It's a simple equation. Demand minus supply equal the gap that I need to cover. So is it that basic? No, we are talking about planning the workforce. It means that we're talking about talent, competencies, technicalities, behavior, flexible staffing. I have one person who can do only one job instead of Ayman or Remy, who can do several things together, can rotate. She has the experience. So flexible staffing. The training for crisis response. I mean, you all know the case for the, this, and it happens in schools, the drill, God forbid, in case of fire or a disaster or whatever. You need to train people how to act in a crisis, because otherwise they will go into a panic mode. If you go to a panic mode, say goodbye to everything that you have planned. So you need to train them and tell them it's okay. It is normal to go through a crisis. And again, in crisis, people, they care about themselves, their families, with their well-being. You need to, whether it's training, whether these are programs that you are inserting, whether they are awareness sessions, they need to feel safe. Okay. If they don't feel safe, they will not function the way you want and you expect in a crisis. And definitely, you need to put the policies, the procedures that will allow people to work, whether it's remotely, whether it's going to be flexible hours, whatever it takes to manage this properly. And finally, nothing of this will happen, as I told you before, without communication. And if I may go out a little bit out of my way, we study a lot of components and topics in SHRM. Whether it's talent acquisition, leadership, ethical practices, business acumen, learning and development, everything we study it, whether it's about you or about the technicalities of HR. None of this will work without communication. Let me give you a hint. I have an experience of 25 years old, 25 years in HR, and I'm managing the compliance and strategy in Clorox, Egypt, as well as the HR. Nothing will fly without proper communication. So anything that you are going to do, any initiative is going to be based on when and how and to whom and why and which type of information you are going to communicate. So talking about HR as a leader or as a strategic business partner sitting around the C-level table, they look up to you to advise them on their decision that they will take, how it will impact the workforce, how people will perceive it, because you are handling a very delicate position. You are the balance, you are taking care of the balance between the interest of employees and the company and the compliance and so many things. Data plays a huge role now. I'm not going to talk about AI because that's a totally different subject. But if you want to be credible with the executive level and being part of the leadership team, you can't tell stories like before. HR is very important. No, we need to do engagement programs because employees might be leaving. We want to retain. No, it's about data. What is your turnover? What is your attrition rate? What is the benchmark competition? What do they do? What is their turnover in the competition? Where do we stand in the market in terms of compensation and benefits? It's no longer narrative that you discuss and it's no longer a story to tell. HR has to be data driven. Okay. Again, the well-being, continuity, and employee needs, that you need to work on a survival strategies. And I think the word survival is a bit extreme, but we talk about it in a way that people would be able to go through this bottleneck safely. And finally, shape strategic decision making, prioritize people first approaches, because this is how you will get people to help the company during a crisis. So what type of crisis or disruption we can get? Economic shocks, we had it in 2008, 2009. I mean, these last 2 decades were really great. Health crisis, we've been through this in pandemics, like in 2020. Technological disruption that's happening, like the rise of the machine, as they say, the rise of AI, where people now are becoming outskilled or and now need to be reskilled or upskilled again. And geopolitical instability, and I think this is very obvious with the disruption and war and political conflicts that are happening right now. It's affecting everyone. So what do we need to do? Once it's done, I mean, there is a slide that I always remember in SHRM. It says crisis is a terrible thing to waste, because the learning from a crisis is much more valuable. So it's an opportunity. So capture the lessons learned to behave and act better in the future. If someone really stood as an employee or even consumers beside the company during this crisis, please recognize them, trust an organization culture, and build long-term agility and adaptability. Can we go to the next slide, please, Remy? Type. What do we take as a professional HR? What you do as HR, you need to make sure that organizations are prepared from a culture, from skills, from competencies, from policies, from training, from awareness, that they are ready and can accommodate the crisis. That the organization be prepared, communicate and over-communicate, tell the lessons learned from each crisis that you go through. It doesn't have to be global crisis, but even crisis, when we talk about it, could be at the organization level. So let's not only focus on regional crisis or global crisis. Also in our organization, we have seen it so many times. I'm sure you did. Organization will not just survive, they will even grow and become stronger when they go out of this crisis. This is a very quick case study when we talk about global tech firm, and it's talking about the response response to the COVID in 2020. So what they have did is that 5 things. Rapid remote transition, immediately converted everything, and only people who were need to be on premises. Well-being programs have been developed immediately to take care of employees and their families. Communication happened every single day. What is happening, what's happening with the company, who's moving out, who's moving in, how we are going to operate, meetings are taking place, and communicating. And people who were not used to technology, they immediately got a crash course on how to use Zoom, Teams, and how to conduct business remotely. And then they put, of course, the lesson learned, which are the post-crisis recovery. So things that needs to be, that made this company, and it's a global, I can't mention the name, but they came out from this with a better practice, business practices that made cost saving, people more efficient, and trust in this organization, whether you are an employee or a consumer, were skyrocketing. Okay, Remy will go to the last one. So key lessons from the case study. You need to be proactive. You don't wait for something to happen. Prior COVID, what we used to hear is the emergency plan. And post-COVID, the one on center stage was business continuity plan. And that's why being proactive. So it's not about an emergency. When it happens, you react. It's the business continuity that you need to ensure that will happen and continue with the core functions in your organization not stopping. And lesson number 2 from this case study is basically, it's people. It's the people who will save you or they will make you sink. So people, communication, flexibility, and agility, the organization emerged stronger and more confident. This is very, very quickly, we went through it. There's so many things to talk about, but I think, Remy, this is the time for Q&A, right?
Yeah. Of course. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayman, for this
You're most welcome.
detailed presentation. Thank you so much for also thank you for the case study. I found it very beneficial. And fortunately and unfortunately, we have been through almost 90% of the crisis that might actually happen in the area, unfortunately. But fortunately for us, we were able to, at least demonstrate them to explain it to the candidates. Um, I'm gonna just see if we have any questions. So, one of the question is, what are the most effective capacity building program topics or skills that employees should be trained in to develop high caliber talent? You're muted, Mr. Ayman.
Okay. Tariq, thank you for the question. It's a very good question, but it will take definitely a long time to answer. But I'll tell you what, I'll try to summarize it for you. You want a high caliber talent, you need to know what you need as an organization first. It's so easy to give Remy and Ayman and Tariq training as much as you want, but do they need them? Does the business need this training or not? And training is different than development than career building. So what do you want? A quick fix or something to build a succession plan or a future leaders? So that's a topic that is covered in details with the plans in SHRM, and it's done beautifully when we talk about succession planning. I hope I answered the question as much as I can, because it's a good question, but a big one.
All right, thank you. I also have another question. As HR, how should I respond during a financial crisis while maintaining a minimum stable workforce and positive employee climate?
Okay. I don't know if this will help, but my recommendation would be what I have done. Communicate transparently. Guys, you bring the workforce, you bring the managers and tell them, this is the situation that we have. We need to give people the right, what do we need exactly to, and how we can merge positions. The last thing that you want to do, Tara, is to let go of people. When we talk about maintain minimum, it's not always about the number. It could be the positions and merging positions together, sending people on vacations, unpaid vacations sometimes. But again, you need to know what are your core functions. You need to know what are your critical positions, and based on that, you will be able to decide from a business continuity perspective, what do I really need to give this a boost. Also, another approach would be using a full-time employees and outsourced employees. And this is, again, very well explained and detailed in SHRM.
Perfect, thank you. Another question is, what kind of signs of crisis to watch for as an HR?
Dr. Ibrahim, do you mean internal or external? The signs of crisis. You mean the crisis? Because external, it shows to everyone, like where we are now. But internal, there are different signs. I mean, the first time that you see that they're no longer serving Nescafe Gold and only tea, that's a sign of something wrong. Okay.
Yeah, that's a
So
crisis for me.
internally, as an HR, you need to monitor the culture, the turnover, the number of resignations. There are so many red flags: the delay in payment in salaries, no promotions, losing market share. There's so many things internally. Externally, you are no longer isolated. None of us is isolated now. We are all connected, whether we like it or not. So when a war happens in Ukraine and Russia, we are affected in Egypt and Lebanon and UAE and everywhere. So really, internally, you need to read your culture properly. Externally, again, you need to kind of know what's happening around you.
Perfect. What is the main role of HR manager in war?
Wow.
That's a big question.
Okay, unless you are required to fight yourself. I mean, again, you need to be prepared as an HR to do something. Again, I need you, I mean, if you're interested in this topic, I would like you to search today for companies doing business continuity plan, and you will see the role of the HR, and I'm not going to say war, but in any crisis. And I think we have I mean, quite discussed this in the presentation. Latifa said, what are the most common mistakes HR departments make when navigating crisis? Okay, so I'll tell you the most common mistake HR people, not departments, make at any point of time, not only in crisis. Assumptions. You don't listen and you assume that you know. So you need to know that you're a service department, Latifa, and you need to listen to people. You need to listen to the stakeholders in the organization. So the most common mistake is that people, they hear you, but they don't listen to you. So the HR should listen and not hear. You can hear the noise outside, but you want to listen to what Remy is saying, or Latifa is saying, or Asma is saying. And that's the issue. The successful HR, again, is not about the writing a job description or implementing policy or looking at the watch saying, Remy, you're 2 minutes late, or you're 2 minutes early. It is managing the culture. And the word culture, when you study HR and work in HR, you will understand that this is the magic word, the holy grail of HR. Okay, Asma says, what are the most effective strategies for diagnosing an organization's climate? Okay, so there are so many things, but the best way to do this is to, again, listen to people who are working in this climate, right? So you need to conduct surveys, focus groups, orientation sessions, and none of this will work if the HR is not, I'm sorry to say, trustworthy and credible, okay? If they don't trust you, whatever you do, even if you send an anonymous survey, of course, the IT will know my email and I'm going to be screwed.
Yes.
No, don't do that. If you don't build trust, don't bother do this, okay? A survey, even in exit interviews, I'm sure that all of you and Remy's have a smile on her face. People say personal reasons, and it's not personal reasons, it's the money, or it's the culture, or her manager is giving her a hard time, but she doesn't want, she's not bothered. So building the relationship and the trust is step number one if you want to do anything related to HR. Last question would be talent scarcity in crisis, the acquisition part. I'm sorry, Atif, I'm not following. What do you mean by this question? Can you just elaborate a little bit? Talent scarcity in crisis. So yes, of course. I mean, I always say when the economy is booming, you have difficult time finding talented individuals, right? And people say, when the economy is shrinking, it's easier to find people. No, it's the opposite. Because people, the people who are talented and qualified are the lifeline for the organization. So if Morgan is in Remy is doing an excellent job, but I can headhunt her in a normal situation, in a booming economy, it will be harder to try to headhunt Remy when there is a crisis, because they will depend on Remy. So they will not, if they will do 10 times what they could have done in a normal situation. So I hope I answered your question. I'm not sure about the acquisition part, Atif, but probably we'll do it later on. So Mr. or Miss Anonymous, which trainings would you recommend for a non-HR employee, engineering background, handling HR works in a small business? How small? Is it 5, 10 people? Or it's 100, 150, or it's 1,000? Small is very relative. Can you just put the number? I mean, if it's a small organization, you just have to read a little bit. I think that 50 plus, you need to have kind of a study and training. And I think that SHRM would give you a great overview especially if you don't have the technicalities, going for SHRM CP, which is the 0 to 3, 4 years. I'm sure. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Remy. This would be a great, because the beauty of SHRM is that it gives you an overview. It doesn't sink you in details on how to fill or develop an application form for an interview, but tells you how to conduct the interview. So I think that SHRM's CP, not SCP, would be a good choice.
Yeah, I
Remy,
agree
please tell me,
100%.
Remy, tell me when we are out of time. So I'll keep answering
Yes.
questions, and you
Yeah,
lead
we
the
still
way,
have
please.
we still have 2 minutes. So you got a
Okay.
response on the question. It's 10 to 15 employees. Can I benefit from SHRM with no direct HR experience?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, the SHRM
Because if
CP,
they
as
are
you said, doesn't require any eligibility, anyone or experience. Anyone can sit for the exam.
and it gives you an overview on everything, Remy. So
Yeah,
this is why I love it.
that's perfect. All right, so the last question, do you think the exit interviews are crucial, especially nowadays?
If they are done properly, yes. If there is a trust between the person who's conducting the exit interview and the employee who resigned, yes. If it's only just for the sake of filling spaces and documents to be piled and put in a drawer, no, I don't think so.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayman, again for this very informative and
No,
fruitful
it's my
session.
pleasure. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining also this session. I have sent my personal email to your chats in this in case you have any extra question you would like to ask. We would like to thank you again. Thank you so much. Sorry for taking 5 extra minutes from your time. Thank you, Mr. Ayman, and enjoy the rest of your
Welcome. It's
evening,
a
everyone.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.